Hello everyone, I'm sorry I can't be there today, but I think you're going to find today's stuff pretty easy to do. There's a couple of sticky spots, but not hard. Okay, so it says a system of linear equations can be written as a matrix equation. Oh, this method, by the way, is called inverses, so you're using inverses. So first thing you do is you do your coefficient matrix. This is your variable matrix, and that's your constant matrix. Let's write that down. So these are your coefficients. Those are all the numbers that are in front of the x and the y. This guy right here is your variable. And then just like yesterday, this one's your constants. Okay, so assuming that you've written all these little pieces out, then what we have is a times x is equal to b. Now, I'd really like to get x alone. That's the solving part of this. So I'm going to use matrix inverses because you can't divide by matrices. So if I multiply A inverse to both sides, it will move over to the other side. So watch carefully, write it down, pause it if you need to. The A inverse has to go in front of the B, or you're going to get a dimensional mismatch because your inner dimensions won't work out. So if you're trying to use this method and you get a dim mismatch, or when you try and multiply it, things don't work out, you have these flip-flopped in order. Because remember, matrices, you can't multiply in any order, so write yourself a little note here. Order is important. Okay, so let's take a look at what it says right here, the 1, 2, 3s of this problem. So solve the system as a matrix equation. Find A inverse, the inverse of the coefficient matrix, multiply A inverse by the constant. Okay, we got this. So first thing, let's find A. So remember the examples over here on this side right here, and we're going to write it out. So A in this case is 7, -6, 5, and 1. Now, it may have been a little bit of time. You may have forgotten how to find inverses. So let's write that formula down over here in the little side area. That's what it's good for. A inverse equals 1 over determinant of A. And just a reminder, we're going to swap positions on these two. So the D comes up here, the A goes down there. And you change signs on the other diagonal. Just in case you forgot. You might not have. That's fantastic if you didn't. Okay, so back to our problem. So first thing I need to do is I need to find the determinant. So using your brain or your calculator or a combination, let's find our determinant. Multiply down your main diagonal. That gives you 7. Multiply up your other diagonal. That's -30, so minus -30. So that gives us 37. Okay. Not the worst one, not the best one. Okay, so let's write out our inverse and then we'll work our way through it. So A inverse is going to be equal to 1 over positive 37. Swap your positions on the main diagonal. Change your signs on the other. So here's where we're kind of getting to that sticky bit because you've got to do fractions. You can't use decimals in this case. So I've got 1 over 37, pretty nasty. -5 over 37, also not fantastic. 6 over 37, and 7 over 37. Unfortunately, not a single one of those fractions simplifies. Ugh. Okay, like I said, it gets a little gross for a little bit, but then everything's going to come out okay. All right, so in order to find out what x is, you're going to do A inverse times B. Oh, we didn't write our B matrix yet. Let's do that real fast. -14 and -25. Okay, so we're going to multiply 1 over 37 6 over 37, negative 5 over 37, and 7 over 37, times that guy right there. Let me just give myself a little bit of space to do that. And I'm gonna make this a little wider than we normally do, just because there's fractions involved. So give yourself a little bit of space to write all these things down. Okay, so you're gonna multiply 1 over 37 times negative 14. Yuck. You're gonna multiply negative 5 times negative 25 over 37. So that's 125 over 37. This is the worst part right here. If you can make it through this, you're gonna be fine, okay? This is our bad spot. You can do this. Then you've got 6 times negative 14. You may want to use a calculator for that. It turns out to be negative 84 over 37. Did I mention it was a little gross? This is a little gross. It's not great. Okay, and then you're going to do 7 times 25. That gives you negative 175 over 37. Okay, we're coming out of the dark now. So you're going to take your calculator and you're going to add negative 14 to 125, and then you're going to divide by 37. Let's do it together. Okay, so I have negative 14 plus 125 divided by 37. Whoa, 3. 3 is my answer. That came out kind of nicely. Guess what? They're all going to do that. Negative 84 plus negative 175. Oh, that's a nasty number. Divide by 37. Look at that. There's your answer right there. That's your answer to the problem. This thing right here, that's X. And this thing right here, that's Y. And that's how we do it. I'm going to do another example with you of a 2x2. Then we're going to do a 3x3 using our graphing calculator. Okay, that's the worst of it. If you can do this, you can do these problems. So there's my encouragement to try and like say, hey, you can do this. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find matrix A. 12, negative 8, 11, negative 5. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to find my determinant. And you'll see I'm going to use a calculator to help me out with the determinant, because this is negative 60 and that's negative 88. Okay, so I probably could do that in my head. So negative 60 minus negative 88. Let's see here, I end up with a nice determinant, looks like of 28. Let me give everybody a chance to give that a try real fast. I'm going to reconfirm it because, you know, last thing I want to do is give you wrong information. Okay, it's 28. All right, now I'm going to find A inverse. So using the formula that's right up above, let's walk through it. You got 1 over 28. Change the position on the main diagonal. Change the sign on the other diagonal. Okay, here's where the things get nasty because you got fractions, okay? But you can do this. By the way, I'm not going to simplify fractions. Normally, I would reduce my fractions and put them in lowest terms, but in this case, I want them to keep the same denominator. And if I put them in lowest terms, it actually will take them out of having the same denominator. So I'm going to have negative 5 over 28. Negative 11 over 28, 8 over 28. Yes, I know I can reduce that, but remember, I just talked to you about why we're not going to do it. And 12 over 28. If I were just finding the inverse, I would absolutely put it in lowest terms. Okay, so here we go. Here's how you find X. So you're going to take A inverse with all of its ugly fractions. And you're going to multiply it times b, which is your constants. Remember, give yourself a little space on this because you're going to want to write stuff down. It'll just make it easier on you. The fractions are bad enough, so, you know, give yourself a little bit of a break on this. Okay, so there's my pieces. Let's do the multiplying. So you're going to do -5 times 35. Okay, that gives me 175 over 28. Then I'm going to do -11 times 21. That's -231 over 28. Hopefully everything's still good. At this point, I want to put those together because I always like to kind of work as I go. So I'm going to put that together. And I'm going to divide by 28. And lo and behold, look at this. I get -56 over 28, which turns into -2. Ta-da! Such a nice answer. All right, let's do the next one. I've got 8 times -35. That is -280 over 28. Then I've got 12 times 21. 252 over 28. Use your calculator. Remember, we kept them as common denominators to make it a little easier on ourselves. So that is -28 over 28. And that comes out to be -1. Bam! Done. So it gets kind of hairy in the middle here, but not super hard to do. All right, so those are the ones you do by hand. Let's flip to the other side. By the way, if you want to see this example worked out, I do have it worked out for you. It's in the notes, like the print copies. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to find A. And you always want to write this down. And the reason you want to do that, especially on a test, is partial credit. You know, there's a difference between making you misread the problem versus you didn't put in the calculator right. And frankly, it's kind of easy to mess these up. Okay, so let's go to our calculator and let's put this in. So I'm going to go to second matrix. I'm going to go over to edit. And I'm going to type this 3 by 3 matrix into my calculator. Okay, it'd be nice if I was typing the right numbers in. Okay, always pause here just to make sure you put in the right stuff. Excellent. Okay, I also need matrix B. And again, I encourage you to write down what you're about to put in your calculator. Okay. So again, I'm going to quit. I'm going to go back into the matrix menu. I'm going to go over to edit and I'm going to edit matrix B. This is a 3 by 1. Okay, -16, -23, and -17. And of course we have to quit. Now remember, our formula for this is we're going to do A inverse times B. Now I do not need you to write down what A inverse is. I just need you to put it in the calculator correctly. So that is what we're going to do next. So with our calculator, we're going to go back to the matrix menu, select A, write a little -1 there, times, go back to the matrix menu, do B, press enter, and lo and behold, there are your answers. They're kind of written out for you already, kind of almost in that triple form. So this is an ordered triple. You can leave it like this, that's good, or you can do this. I will take either one. That's X, that's Y, and that's Z. Well, that was pretty easy. Let's try one more of the ones with our graphing calculator. So again, always write down what matrix A is. I don't need you to write down what your inverse is, just your original matrix. course, write down what your B is. Okay. So back to my calculator. Matrix menu. I'm going to edit that 3 by 3. -1, 5, -3, 7, -2, -1, -2, -1, and 6. Please double check what you're putting in the calculator. Remember, you're relying on it for a lot, and it would really stink if you didn't put in the right stuff. Okay, again, I'm checking my work. I'm going to quit. Now, I've already got the command that I would like. If you've never done this before, right up here it says entry. So if you push second and entry, it's going to pull that command line from up above. And lo and behold, there's my answer. So my answer to my problem is 1, -9, -2. If you want to leave it that way, you can, or you can write it as an ordered triple. Okay, your homework is on the next page. That's all of the notes. Once you have done that homework, you are, well, done. We aren't going to do any more examples. If you would like to try example 6, that is also available on Teams for you to take a look at. I hope that you all have a really good weekend, and I will definitely see you all back on Monday.